Hi, and welcome to part 5 of December Documented. I'm actually starting off this video with some final touches. I have a couple more cards to make, and then I'm going to go through the album and do a little consistency check. And so I'll show you that. First, I'm going to make the tab that will go in the little nameplate on the edge of the binder. And this is the binder that the Hip Kit Club was selling to go along with their December Documented kit. And that is the kit that I used for most of the contents of this project. I did draw a little bit from my stash. I got a little bit of Kelly Perky goodies in there and some other things from my stash as well. So at first I thought of putting December 2017, and then I realized it's not going to fit. So I decided to do December and then a slash, which is just using an L and or maybe a capital I don't remember which, but and then 17. So then the other thing that I didn't take into consideration is that this pattern paper is quite a bit thicker than the paper that was in the nameplate to begin with. So once I fold this in half, it's actually not going to fit. I'm going to sew right through this for a couple of reasons. First of all, I like the look of sewing, but also sewing keeps letter stickers in place like nothing else does. And since this is going to be kind of like ode and facing the world, it's more likely to lose its stickers than other things that are inside of pockets. So I just want to make sure that those letters stay in place for the duration of the life of this album. So I am going to start by taking a flip through to see where I'm at and what I need to do. I only have 2 pockets that I need to create this morning. And so this was done this morning, which is December 31st. And so all of these were already done yesterday and the day before. And I did save this project for after the holidays. I found it really difficult to prepare for the holidays and also scrap at the same time. So this is the gap that I have in my book, these 2 pockets that were left over from last night when I was scrapbooking. And I've really captured all of the photos that I really need to capture to feel like I documented my December. So this is all kind of like the sprinkles on top of the cupcake. So everything is documented, but what I really love about this project is that it gives you a chance to really go into more detail and capture some of the little tiny moments that you might not have made a scrapbook page about. And so that's what this next card is going to be. I've cut apart that paper bag that came in the kit, and then this is actually pattern paper from last year's December Documented kit from the Hip Kit Club. And last year I actually did not complete or really get very far at all in documenting the holiday. And so I have lots and lots of supplies left over from last year. So that's what I'm digging into here. I love this pattern paper. I believe it's from Crepe Paper from last year's. I think it might be from the Snow and Cocoa collection. Really, really pretty. Now I have this photo of Scotch tape, and my photo printer is, I think it's on its last legs. I can't get the nozzle cleaned. I've done the thing that it tells you to do. There are 3 different ways that you can clean your printer, and I've done all 3 multiple times, and it still keeps printing out big blobs of ink. So I think I've had it for a very, very long time. It's been a workhorse. It's probably printed thousands, maybe 10,000. I don't know, a lot of pictures. It's printed a lot of pictures. So yeah, it's reasonable that it's on its last legs, but it's not the greatest timing in the middle of a project here. So I have matted that photo with black just to give it a little bit more emphasis because it's on 2 quite busy pattern papers. So the black just helps it to have a little bit of breathing space and emphasizes the photo a little bit. And now I've cut apart this tag that came in the cut aparts from the kit, and I'm going to do some journaling. And the journaling says, that moment when you run out of Scotch tape when stores are closed. So you run all over the house looking for more, ... and you find it. Which really, this has been, I almost feel like I need to knock on wood when I say this, but this has been a very lucky holiday. It seems like all sorts of things went right at exactly the perfect time, from like things happening that allowed me to book a trip to like even these little everyday things like this. Just really grateful to have things go well, because last year was really not like that at all. It might have been the opposite of that. So here we go. This card is finished. I just added a couple of puffy stickers to decorate the corner, and here we go. It's in there. Now, my original idea, I had cut 2 of these mats and also 2 of that pattern paper, but I feel like whatever I do next is going to be a completely different topic, and so I like to continue things when it's part of the same story. So I really don't want to continue the exact same look on this second card, because it's going to give the feel like it's part of the same story, and it's really not. The Scotch tape moment was just a little moment that this project is really designed for, those sorts of things, like just to kind of be grateful for those little things and just mark and document those little moments. And so I'm glad that I got a chance to do some of that kind of thing in this project, both today when I scrapbooked the Scotch tape, but also all along. So this next pocket is going to be a journaling card. And so I just cut down a Becky Higgins grid card because I have tons of them, so I need to use them up. And I'm just writing here. I'll read you my journaling. It says, with Liv in junior high and Soph almost 11, this year was different in so many ways. Although the girls have been staying home alone in the daytime for a while now, on December 16th for Jenna's ugly sweater party and December 3rd, Scott's work party, Liv, Sophie sat in quotations. In the night for the first time. We were home before midnight both times, but all went well. We are so proud of them both. Another sign that they are growing up, their Christmas lists were so short this year. They both wanted clothes and Liv wanted makeup. So I'm just documenting that in my own handwriting, and I'm really just kind of writing it down off the top of my head. I didn't have an outline of what I wanted to say or pre-sketch how it's going to lay out on this card. I'm just kind of keep blabbering on until the card is filled with thoughts. And I felt like I had plenty to say, so I just kind of paced myself. As I saw that I was about halfway through the card, I thought, okay, I have to move on and make sure that I save some space to talk about the fact that they wanted more grown-up gifts for presents this year as well. So that's all that I did with that. And all of my journaling in this project was done with my Sharpie pen, which is different than a Sharpie marker. So the Sharpie marker is a permanent slick surface writing marker. And if you use that on a piece of regular paper, it tends to bleed quite a lot. So the Sharpie pen is made for writing on more porous surfaces like paper. So now I have filled those 2 empty pockets, and I feel like the album is complete. And so now all that I have to do is decide what things I'm going to beef up or enrich in this project. And so I'm going to start by making a little insert out of this piece of acetate that I already used elsewhere in the project. And sorry for my cat's behind sitting there. And I've already discovered that I can't use my office supply paper hole punch for acetate because it's just not sharp enough. So I had to use my Crocodile, which doesn't cut the right size circles for this album, but it does an okay job. And I just basically all that I do is I trace a page protector to use as a template, and you just want to make sure that you catch at least 2 holes. And the way this binder is set up, it's easy because it's basically 2 pairs of rings on this binder, so you're almost always going to catch 2 holes. So now I just went into my stash and I got a small white tag, shipping tag. And I wanted an actual shipping tag because you're going to see it on the other side because I'm putting it on acetate. And my journaling here just says, poor Jana, Randy got snow stayed in Newfoundland the night of her ugly sweater party, so she had to host it herself. And I just thought, because Jana is one of our friends, I just thought it would be nice to document that for her, or to, I don't know, just it was part of the story of going to the ugly sweater party. So I'm going to put this insert on the same page, like between the 2 pages that includes the ugly sweater party page. So I'm using the same red and white baker's twine throughout this project. Whenever I need string, I'm using the same string. I'm making all of my writing in the same pen so that it looks consistent. And then the other thing I'm doing for consistency is I'm using the gold numbers whenever there's a date for me to document. So on the flip side of this, I just stuck some stickers where the tag is, basically to make the glue a little bit less obvious and to dress up that side so it's not just the back of a blank tag. Now, I have some more journaling. I have quite a lot that I want to say, actually, and so I'm thinking about using this envelope as a pocket and then putting some type of a label or something on the front of it. These are Kelly Perky cut aparts, and some labels came in the kit, but I've already used them up, so I'm going into these now. I'm just using my office hole punch to punch out the little negative circle corners. And this is going to say, journaling inside this pocket. And then for a splash of color, I'm going to add a red star to that label. And I like how simple this looks. I really like how that looks, actually. So now I'm just going to use a page protector as a template to draw my holes. And then these office supply hole punches are the perfect size for making holes for this binder. And now I'm going to take a Becky Higgins card. I'm going to just use it rounded with the rounded corners because it's going to be inside of the pocket. It's not like inside of the envelope. It's not going to be in some of the page protectors. So I grabbed the Merry Christmas puffy sticker and I'm going to go ahead and do my journaling. So I'll read it for you. It says, 16 years ago, Scott and I had just started dating, and on Christmas Day, after spending time at my parents', I drove my rented car down to New Glasgow, having never driven that way on my own. It was snowing and dark, and I had to stop frequently because the windshield wipers didn't work well. I arrived and met Scott's entire family, including all the extended family. At the time, I had no idea this would become my family. And I just wrote that off the top of my head. And I wanted to really speak from the heart. And I didn't really care about grammar. I wanted it to sound like my own speech, which might not be grammatically correct. It might be very different than if I were writing a letter or an essay. But I just wanted it to sound like something that I would say. So I just composed it as I wrote. And then when I wrote my family, I just shaded it in so that it stands out, so that when you look at the journaling, it pops out at you. So there's my, and now I'm just see how I'm just going back and forth on the letters to make them look quite a bit thicker. Then I'm putting an arrow, and on the flip side, I'm adding more journaling. I wanted a sticker, and I knew that if I didn't put it on at the beginning, I wouldn't have space for it. So I put ... just in case you look at this card on the back side first. It's clear that this is a continuation of something else. And it says, now we may have started a new Christmas tradition, I hope so, of celebrating Christmas on the 24th with a meal and gifts and spending time with our family in New Glasgow. And when I put our family, I'm shading it in as well so that my family is shaded in, and now our family is shaded in. Then I go on. It is the best Christmas gift I could wish for, to have us all together on the holiday. I have let go of my preconceived ideas about needing to be, in quotation marks, home on Christmas Eve and day that came from my family of origin. And then again in quotations, I put home is where your family is. At Fee and Brian's on Christmas Eve, we played a game where we all answered questions about Christmas. My question was, what was the best present you ever received? My answer is this family. And I shaded in this family and put a heart and then signed it T. So on this card, my family, our family, and this family all kind of stand out from the rest of the text. And if if you wanted that to look even fancier, you could replace those words, like in your journaling, those kinds of words that you want to emphasize. Like in my case, it was these words: my family, our family, this family. But you could replace those with little tile letter stickers, or even like little shaped letter stickers, or you could make them a different color. But for me, I just wanted, I really like the casual look of my handwriting. I didn't always like my handwriting, and I've grown to love it. And not because it's all that nice or like fancy or anything, especially compared to some other people's handwriting, but I just really like it because it's mine. So then it occurred to me that I have that pouch already in my album. And I couldn't think about what to put in it. So rather than adding a second one with these cards in it, I decided to put these cards in that pocket. So I have another story to tell, which is going to be called No Turkey with question marks. And so I'm just spelling those out. I have enough of the Kelly Perky stickers to write no, but not enough to write turkey. So I went into the basic gray letter stickers in the green that I've already used elsewhere in the project. So I am trying to continue things as often as I can. And then the question mark, and then I'll put a red question mark too, just so that it's a little bit more balanced. There we go. And now I'm going to underline this a couple of times with a bit of a wobbly, scribbly line, just to give it a little bit more emphasis. And my journaling says, of course, we had turkey dinner with veggie options at Nana's on Christmas Eve. But this year, I did not cook a turkey, and we did not have a big meal at all on Christmas Day. Instead, we had tapas, in brackets, inspired by our former student, Sophia. It was much more relaxing. And then I put an arrow, and and continue it on the next page. And this die cut with the trees on it is from the front of that bag. So I had picked out that die cut and wanted to use it on the front of the bag. But then when I decided to use that bag for these journaling cards, I wanted to use that simple journaling inside this pocket label. And so I took this off in order to put the label on, and that's where I put it, was on this card. So now on the other side, it says to just put out a bunch of yummy goodies. Oh, right. It was much more relaxing to just put out a bunch of yummy goodies. We don't usually have. And since so much snacking goes on all day, hello, pear and brie croissants, no one really missed having a big meal. Having not put up my village and not cooked a big turkey dinner, I had a grinchy moment of feeling like I wasn't sure why I had done those things each year, since Christmas still came and was wonderful without them. So it's been a real year of kind of evaluating what Christmas really is, especially, the contrast between last year's Christmas and this year's Christmas, which I think I've said in a different video that there was like nothing really bad happened last year. So it's not like, anything really horrible, but it just wasn't a great Christmas. I don't know what it was about it. And so it's been really kind of, interesting to think about how there wasn't all that much different this Christmas from last Christmas, but this one went so much better and felt so much better. So I've been really spending some time thinking about that and trying to focus on what really is important about the holidays so that I can have more holidays like this one, because it was really lovely. So now what I'm doing is that consistency check that I talked about at the beginning of this video. So I'm going through and I'm looking at each page and I'm thinking, first I'm looking for the messy scribbly outlining and adding it to any photo that didn't already have it, just so that everything looks tied together. The only photos that don't get the messy outlining scribbling is the 4x6 photo and any of the screen cap photos. So the Instagram posts from my daughter's Instagram and Snapchat, all of those are just not outlined. But all of the little photos, like the 2x2 or 2.5 by 2.5, are all outlined. Oh, also the photo strip of the acro recital was also not. And so here I am, I'm just adding a date to that card. So any card that doesn't have a gold date that really does need one. So some of them don't need a date, like the elf ones took place on various days and it doesn't really matter which day it was. But I'm just going through, I'm adding those gold day stickers, the gold numbers, and adding scribbling when I need it. And now I'm just going to set aside some numbers for the last 2 cards that I plan to do. And I don't know if I'm going to do January 1st or January 01. I also might want to take out the numbers for 2018 as well. So anyhow, I just didn't want to forget to put those on the last 2 cards, so I just put them in the pocket where that card will go. And then I had a look at the stickers and thought about so this one says waiting for Santa, so I wanted to put it on the card that has the Christmas presents under the tree that are all wrapped. And it also covered some of the clutter on my couch, which was quite nice because it was looking kind of messy there. I don't stage any of my photos. They're all just snapshots. So there's often messiness in the background and like dust and dirt on the floor. And I don't really care about that. So again, I mentioned that I kind of dressed up that card a little bit. So that's part of my consistency check, is just looking for any kind of white space or places that feel like they're empty or blank or needs a little something. Final touches, all of these final touches. I haven't written anything on that little tag on the back of the Cuba pictures, but I think it's okay without anything. So now my last journaling card, I just had one more story I wanted to tell. I added this Peace on Earth sticker, and then I put a little ellipse. Is that what that's called? Yeah, the 3 dots. And it says, and in our hearts. So peace on earth and in our hearts. And here's what I wrote. While Christmas of 2017 was, in many ways, about releasing old traditions and being open to new ones, there was one older tradition of mine that I actually returned to after several years of not doing. Again, I don't think that's grammatically correct, but that's the way I speak, so that's what I wanted to put. That's the benefit of just kind of journaling off the top of your head, is that it feels true to you. This year, I made a point of baking with the girls multiple times. We made and decorated cookies from frozen dough, but still, and we made Christmas mice and peanut butter chocolate balls. Of all the chores I shed when we had kids, and I put shed in quotation marks, I'm really not sure why I gave up my Christmas baking. It is such a wonderful way to spend time with the girls, and we all love having them to bring to Christmas parties, etc. Again, not grammatically correct, but I don't care. Next year, I think I'll ditch the mice and try something new, perhaps the Christmas spice cookies, which I used to decorate with royal icing. And then I'm going to go back and do a consistency check on these 3 journaling cards that I end up with. And I'm also leaving a blank journaling card just in case it occurs to me to do another story I have, or maybe somebody else is looking through the album, like one of my daughters or something, and they think, oh, you didn't write about blah, 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 maybe something I forgot. And either they or I can add some more journaling. And it's just a double-sided 4x6 Becky Higgins card, like the other ones that I've been journaling on. So I signed that one T, so I'm going to go back and sign the other ones with a T as well. I had to find a spot to sign that one because it was so full. And then I'm putting them in. And I don't know if I did it on camera or not, but I found a little tree-shaped gold paper clip that came in the hip kit, and I'm going to put that. I put that on those 4 journaling cards, one of which is blank. So now I will do a quick flip through with you guys. So you can see all of the pages up close, and I don't have any photos of this because I'm going to wait until the whole project is completely finished. I do have one more page to do. So, but here you get to see the details, some of which were done in this video and some of which were done in the previous 4 videos before this one. So again, here are those pull-out cards with the journaling on them. Very story heavy for me, especially. I don't usually do quite this much journaling in any of my projects, but I felt like I really wanted to reflect more on this year than I have in previous years for all the reasons that I've already told you. There's that paper clip that I told you about. I didn't know if I did that on camera or not. So then those just go right in there like that. And it's nice to have something to put to put inside of that pocket. And then there's that add-on that I did today, or that little insert. This one is from the first video, this page about the ugly sweater party. And I love this Christmas tree page, this 2-page spread. I really like that. And so it's a combination. Some of these are a story on a single card, like the Scotch tape or the Snapchat one. And then others have a story that go across a whole page or across a 2-page spread. So just whatever I needed at the time. And you'll notice that the pages are all in random order, like they're not chronological by the date. So page with the 16th of December might be before the page with the 7th of December or something. But then once we get to Christmas Eve, everything is in order. So we've got the 24th, the 25th, and then the 27th, and then the next 2 pages will be the 31st and the 1st. And I just had an idea of what I want to do with this last envelope. And so, or a little paper bag. And so I'm going to put that there so I don't forget that I have an idea about that. And I'll share that on my very last final video. I'm just thinking about what I'm going to decorate that. I feel like, because it has the ripped spot on it from where I took off something, and this says something about mistletoe kisses and Christmas wishes, and that's relevant actually to what I plan to put in that pocket. And so I will show that on my next video, which will be December Documented Part 6, and it'll be a short one because I only have a page to do, and then I will flip through the album and show it to you. Thank you so much for watching, and special thanks to these folks for supporting me over on Patreon. Their support really does help me keep on making content for my channel, so thank you. And thanks to you as well who watched this video over on YouTube. If you haven't subscribed to me yet, you can click the button in the center of the page there, and also check out my other videos. I hope that you guys all had a wonderful holiday season and have a really great scrappy week and a great scrappy new year.